now listening to Tribbles and Ecstasy, a production of Holosuite Media. Tune in to our live show every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This is Admiral James T. Kirk of Federation Starship Enterprise. Your presence here is an act of war. You have 2 minutes to surrender your crew and your vessel, or we will destroy you.
Admiral Kirk, this is your opponent speaking. Do not lecture me on treaty violations, as this broadcast is intended for mature audiences. In the following podcast, there will be thoughts and opinions expressed that in no way reflect your Federation, this station, website, or affiliated partners.
Who is this? How dare you?
Who I am is not important. Listener discretion is.
You Klingon bastard.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Tribbles. Her ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new content and new stuff, to follow the girl where no podcast has come before.
Another night of Tribbles and Ecstasy.
Hello and welcome to episode 159 of Tribbles and Ecstasy. I'm your host, Midnight Shadow, and with me today we have Dr. Trekkie.
Hello, everyone.
We have Skipper.
Hello.
We have Woody.
G'day, everyone.
And we have the wonderful Sunseal.
Hello, sweeties.
Now, we've got lots of stuff to talk about for Star Trek Online, but before that, we have another group of crazy people joining us from Star Trek Anthology. We have Jim Bray, the creator.
Hi there, guys.
We have Jodi Bray, who plays Captain Colt.
Hello.
And we have Alex McDonald, who's the director of photography. This is where you speak, Alex.
Alex. Did we lose Alex?
He's
Did his
not
microphone
pushing the button.
swallow him?
I didn't push the button.
Push the button.
I knew it. He didn't
The
push the
big
button.
shiny button. Push the button, Alex.
Damn it.
No.
Oh, I
not-
know.
not-
No, guys, I know what happened. I'm usually the one that pushes Alex's buttons, so he's so used to that that's what
Great.
This
happened.
reminds me of an interview
What-
with George Lowe.
Actually,
By the way, I'd like to mention that you have probably the coolest opening of any show ever. I mean, that was
Thank
just
you.
insane. And whoever's doing Captain Courage is just killing it. That was great.
Oh, that's all
Yeah,
when
no,
Xander,
you
who...
can't use it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Xander, who owns the network Holosuite Media, he did that.
Oh, just that's lovely. It was spot on. It really was.
Yeah, he did a good job with that one.
He sure did. Just the best ever. Jodi and I are sitting here going, "Wow, that guy's great."
Yeah, we could hear you chuckling in the background.
You forgot to unmute the button.
Nah, I'm on just talk. I talk. It hears me.
talks.
I just talk all the time.
He just shut up. He just talks. There you go.
So, Star Trek Anthology. Would you
yes.
like to give us an introduction about what this new web series is that you've got a Kickstarter for?
Well, what we're trying to do is do something a little different, a little out there. Sorry. It's basically a real anthology. There's going to be 3 different stories inside the show, at least to start with, and we may veer off in other directions. It's hard to say right now, but we figured Three's a nice round number. Folks in the U.S., they might remember NBC had an anthology series that was a number of different mystery movies. It was called the Sunday Night Mystery. And we had Columbo and McCloud and Macmillan and Wife, and it was like that. It was a bunch of different mysteries, and we're kind of like that in that we have Starship Challenger, Assignment Earth, and something new that we're developing just for our show, which is called Mother. Mother is, how do I describe it? It's a story of a family-run freighter in the TOS universe that works the shipping lanes out on the edges of where the pirates like to lurk. And so there's a lot of high adventure, a lot of moral stories like Gene Roddenberry liked to tell. And
so it's kind of like the continuation of Travis Mayweather's family.
So, yeah, exactly. It's like that. The one interesting thing, though, is that you got the mother, the father, two kids, grandfather, and the father's sister are all on board. But except that the mother was killed in an Orion pirate raid about a year back. But she lives on in the form of the ship's computer. You see, she used to work with Dr. Daystrom, and she thought that his work had merit, and so she attempted impressing her mental engrams on the circuitry of the ship's computer, and she lives through the computer. So
What's this computer called? Is it Mother or is it M6?
No, it's just Mom. It's just Mom. Everyone calls her Mom. And
Mom's friendly computer core.
Yeah, well, yeah, and she runs the day-to-day operations of the ship. She looks after everybody, makes sure they're safe.
Nags everyone incessantly.
Yeah. She's just Mom, and she's everywhere.
It's like Hal, but
it's
Mom.
kind of like Hal, but she's nice.
And she's on wicked hormones and
No, I think she
perimenopausal is horrible.
No, I think I think she did away with that when she. Can you imagine? Doors start slamming shut. You're not going anywhere, mister.
You didn't eat your peas.
Yes, until you sit down and eat your peas. You're not going anywhere.
Brussels sprouts for everyone.
All you do is sit on that doggone computer day and night. You never talk to me. You never. Have you ever once told me you love me? No.
Oh boy, that was a thing. That was a thing.
That reminds me of a joke. There was a guy who was a bit worried about his marriage, falling apart and stuff like that. So just to prove his love for his wife, he went and climbed the highest mountain, went and crossed the biggest desert and swam across the greatest ocean, just to show his love to his wife. But the marriage broke up anyway because he was never home.
I was wondering where the rim shot was.
He's here all week. Okay. Try the veal.
Don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses.
Okay, so you've got the dad who's the captain, Max Roberts. You've got his son and daughter, Maddie and Artie, and both kids are autistic. They're high on the spectrum, meaning they're in the Asperger's range of autism. So they're very verbal. They're super bright. But they have the little idiosyncrasies that go along with Asperger's.
So like they're their own version of Reginald Barkley.
Kind of, yeah, very good.
I am so thrilled. You are the only other person besides myself that saw that in him. Thank you so much. Okay.
Reg is very Asperger's.
Oh my God,
very Asperger's.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, the two kids that are going to be playing these roles are two kids who are both on the spectrum. And they're great kids. They're awesome. A lot of people just think they're weird. Well, so do we, but we're
weird,
but in a really good way. Gotta love them. They're awesome.
It's all about how you channel the weird.
That's right. It's how you channel the weird, precisely. So Maddie flies the ship, and Artie sees to Mom, basically, makes sure that she's running in a proficient manner and all of that. And And then you've got Gramps, Max's dad, who is the chief engineer on the ship, and then Max's sister, Grace, sees to the medical needs because she's a doctor, and she also does the cooking and stuff, sees to their nutritional needs. But something that we're going to find out, okay, spoilerific time, here we go.
Do I know
She was a former Section 31 operative.
Dun dun dun.
And that'll come into it a little bit later. So in the pilot episode, they are besieged yet again by Orions, and some of them are, shall we say, familiar with the Roberts family. And that's all I'm going to say. But it's going to be action freaking packed. It's a great story. We've got a husband and wife team writing it up, and they are just blowing it out. It's going to be an amazing story. Now we've got Assignment Earth as well. Gary Seven, Roberta Lincoln, the cat Isis, and a couple of new characters that will kind of link up with our other stories. All of these three stories can cross over to each other too, which is kind of interesting. We've amped up Gary's abilities a little bit in that he has that Beta 5 computer in his office. Well, the whole thing can just pick up and go anywhere, almost like a TARDIS.
It's like the iWatch, man. It's cool.
And so he can go anywhere in history and then place himself in another office building or in some other place, wherever he needs to do his mission. He can just take everything and go. So he's not operating out of just that one office.
Do you know how many Star Trek nerds have wanted to do this their entire life?
Well, we're doing it. we've got our Gary 7.
You're going to make a lot of people very jealous.
Oh, we've got our Gary 7 cast, and he is awesome. I'm still looking for Roberta Lincoln. That's a tough role to fill. I mean, Terry Garr so nailed it, and so finding someone who can pull that off is going to be quite a trick. We have a black cat, so we're good there. And I've got a couple of guys that I'm looking at right now to play our two new characters that are going to be the MacGuffin in the story, which is basically these two CIA agents, or so they appear. They're kind of men in black, and they know what Gary's up to. And so they're going to be...
Wait. Are their names Mulder and Scully? Because that would be hilarious.
Smith and Jones. Smith and Jones.
Smith and Wesson.
Smith and Smith and Jones.
No, Smith and Wesson's too obvious.
Yes, a little too obvious.
Then then it's a Doctor Who episode.
No, you remember when Gary first showed up, he was checking in on a couple of other agents that were supposed to be working out of that office, and he comes to find out that they died in a car crash. Well, Smith and Jones both have the same device that Gary has, the servo.
Servo, yeah.
Where did they get those servos? Maybe that car accident wasn't an accident.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, it was an accident. They just
so
recovered
there's
it from
that.
the scene.
Okay. Now in Challenger, well, okay, we got a lot to talk about there. Look, I'm just prattling on here. Do you have questions of any kind, or should I just keep yapping?
We are totally entertained. Just listening as you go on.
Right.
Keep going on.
Okay,
I have to live with him. You guys can handle it for a little while longer. You'll be all right. No.
Go get yourself a bottle, sweetie.
Oh, it'll take more than a bottle. It's okay. Go ahead.
You be
He's
quiet.
got a crate next to her already.
6-pack.
Go sit in the car.
Ooh.
Go sit in the car.
All right.
Okay. So we have Challenger. It's a Miranda class vessel. First of its kind. And it's all amped up. The thing's a hot rod. It's armed to the teeth and has all the latest scientific equipment. And
it's even got the machine that goes ping.
Yes. So
I thought you were supposed to be in the car.
Well,
I never listened to him.
No, she never listens to me. Never listens.
Okay, so you have the last say in the conversation with your wife. Yes, dear.
Oh, okay. Well, help me out here, dear. I'm doing all the time. Alex, you too. You're just kind of sitting there being quiet.
I like listening to you talk there. I'm here for moral support.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's the John Candy.
That's right.
Comic relief. I'm the sidekick.
Comic.
Well, he's our director of photography. He tends to just linger in the background and look at everyone in kind of a creepy way. It's
Pokes his eye
Or
out
was he
and goes,
standing in engineering?
Yeah,
So-
it's but
Oh well, yeah, sure.
ahead,
It's
talk about
yeah, it's a thing. So where was I? Challenger. So Captain Jam Colt, who was Captain Pike's cute redheaded yeoman who wanted to know who Eve was. I think we all know who we're talking about now, for those who aren't familiar with Jam Colt. But she's worked her way up the ladder, matured as an officer, made her way to captain, and they've handed her this ship. The ship that was supposed to go, or so the first officer thought, to him, but instead it gets handed off to Colt. So her first officer, Mr. Taggart, is not too happy about that situation. So there's a bit of confrontation and friction there. Our doctor is an H.L. Mencken type of doc, with a little bit of Freud thrown in. He's a glasses half empty kind of guy, and he mutters to himself a lot. We've got our navigator and our helmsman are basically Frick and Frack. They've served together on a couple of different places together, so they're a team unto themselves.
Here's a question though. Would this, from a lore standpoint, would this be our first female captain?
Yes. Well, aside from
aside
Yeah.
from the non-Federation captain.
right.
And she has a lot to contend with because
She's
let's
the
face
first
it-
female captain.
Yeah, let's face it. Starfleet is pretty much a male-run organization, so she has a lot to prove.
It's a boys' club.
Yeah, it's a boys' club.
I mean, 'cause
He-Man
there was
Woman
like
Haters
that
Club.
whole episode in TOS where the woman wanted revenge against Kirk because she couldn't be captain.
Right.
Right.
And,
Yeah, but there's the woman captain on the Columbia in Enterprise.
Yeah, but that's before the
That's
official forming of the
pre-Federation. Though.
Federation.
She was
Sure,
like the
I-
last one. And
I know,
then-
but I can't remember. She doesn't die in that, so you would assume she'd continue into the Federation. But yeah, I mean, of course, TOS is a product of its time.
Yeah, and so we're trying to break those walls down, and we have a number of other really strong female characters in the show. I mean, look, in Mother, the ship is a character, and it's it's female.
Oh,
But
the
does
only
she,
other,
does
the
she
only
try
other
to
episode,
self-destruct? That's what I want to know.
the only other
Uh,
series
only
that
a
happened
few
in
days
was
every
in
month.
Farscape.
Yeah, she only wants to self-destruct every 28 days or so.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but other than that, she's good.
Mhm.
Let's see who
And you
else. do
said
we
we
have in
were
our cast?
over the whole hormones thing.
Well, no, that's just it's comes with the package. Nice guys understand these things.
Well, it's an alien reference. That's what
Yes.
I assumed everyone would get.
We have a Scottish engineer, Mr. Carmichael,
Jack Carmichael.
Commander Jack Carmichael. And he is he's a bit of a nut. He's been in the Federation for quite a while. He's been in Starfleet for quite a while. He's a couple years shy of retiring.
So he doesn't give a crap
No,
about anything pretty much, and he says what he wants, says what he feels,
and it's his ship, damn it.
doesn't care.
And the one big burr in his saddle is he's got a teenage Vulcan assistant that works with him in engineering. He's in charge of this young guy's training. And this kid makes Spock look like, I mean, he is
So he's
full
kind of like,
Vulcan.
he's kind of like Ensign Vorik from Voyager.
Yeah, he's kind of like that. Yeah, he's full Vulcan and annoying as hell. And he just wants to know everything. It's like,
And annoys the
what
hell
are you,
out of
Buddha?
Carmichael.
You've got to know everything.
He just annoys the hell out of Carmichael. But it's interesting because we have an episode that's Carmichael and Sokal, which is the ensign's name, Sokal centric. And it's an interesting episode in that the two characters really bond. Sokal learns a lot about human behavior, and Carmichael learns a little humility. and they kind of form a really odd father-son type relationship.
Or grandfather, grandson kind of.
I
It's
don't know, either way, but it's going to be an interesting experiment to see what happens there.
yeah, but it's they're trapped on a planet. They're stranded on a planet together. And so it's almost an Enemy Mine kind of thing, but not nowhere near the contention that you saw in Enemy Mine. It's just a little bit of bickering. There, I can tell this one scene, and it won't spoil the show, but Carmichael's trying to build a fire, and they're where they are, none of their tools work, so he can't start a fire with a phaser. So he's having to go old school here. So he finds some pieces of flint, and he scrapes together some tinder, and he makes a little bird's nest out of the stuff, and he scrapes some sparks into it, and he just gets a guy. He goes, "Look, lad, I've made fire!" And he turns around. Sokol has a complete fire built, just blazing away, and he's stoking it. And he's like, "What the hell? How'd you manage to do that?" Well, it's quite simple, really. It's
Vulcan Science Academy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
You
found-
reminded me
he
of an
didn't-
ancient Vulcan technique for starting fires, and I put it into practice. Why are you so angry?
So
The
obviously you're
thing
not
is,
going
he
to be.
probably heated some rocks into this rip-roaring fire.
I don't know how it's just Carmichael turns around and there's a huge blazing fire going behind him. And of course he burns his hand on his little bird's nest that he's just set alight. You know, he's like, for the love of God. Cantankerous as hell. He's a fun character, and the guy we have playing him just nails it. He really does.
So obviously he won't be able to do the little joke of, "Can you get me a left-handed sonic screwdriver, please?"
You never know with this guy, because he is a prankster on the kid too.
Oh, and he also on the exterior, and he makes it look like he cannot stand Montgomery Scott. But in actuality, the two of them are very dear friends. But he goes around telling everybody that Montgomery Scott cheated on his exams in Starfleet, and he taught Scotty everything he knew, and blah 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 blah. It's cute.
Yeah, he doesn't want
it-
anyone to know that he's actually soft on the guy. There's a little bit of a bromance going on there. You know, they really respect each other, and
Well, there always seems that I think it's probably more Irish than Scots, but I know they're sort of like pretty keen on bagging each other and whatnot, and yeah, just being negative to each other, but pretty much sit down to a bowl of scotch and their pals for life.
oh yeah, and that's how it is between the two of them too. It's so I think we've kind of got that whole thing figured out at this point, and it seems to be working well. Now getting back to Colt, she has been through the ringer. I mean, she lost Captain Pike in an unshot thing that Colt kind of came from. In this case, we were working with the guys out in Oklahoma that got the old Starship Exeter Bridge set. Starbase Studios in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, we've had them on the show. A while
Oh,
back,
great!
I believe. Yep.
They're a great bunch of guys. They're still working on it, but they were going to do Starship Ajax, and we worked with them for a bit. And Jodi was going to play Colt for them, but they were having a lot of trouble raising funds. And since we're way up here in Vermont and they're way out there in Oklahoma, it was really difficult. The back and forth was just financially a killer. So they said, "Look, we'll rewrite the script so the Colt isn't in it, and you don't have to worry about the back and forth and all of that." And Jodi was like, I was looking forward to playing Colt. And I said, well, let's figure something out. So that's where all of this came from. But in that story, she loses a captain of her ship there. And in this story that we're doing now, she loses the whole Ajax and everyone aboard.
So they gave her a ship.
So they gave her a ship. Well, because the way she handled it was in a very heroic fashion, and it all happens in the teaser. All of that backstory happens in the teaser at the front of the episode. So I can't say too much because I don't want to spoil it. But
she had been offered command of a starship over and over and over again, and she never felt confident enough to do it.
Or worthy.
Or worthy.
So she did it with
she's
Riker.
Riker.
Yeah.
Basically. She never really wanted to do that.
But she has this admiral that keeps kicking her in the tush, telling her, we need more good women in the center seat, and you deserve this, and you've earned it, and you're good enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. So, get in there. Get in
Words
there,
of
roll up your
affirmation.
sleeves, get your hands dirty, and get to work. And so finally she takes this command.
Throw him back on the front lines, basically.
Well, yeah, but then she, and she's got this first officer that doesn't think she's up to the task, and
We
he
need more red shirts in the field. Go! Go!
Oh my god.
and so she has that friction from him, and the doctor is constantly pestering her, and she's got this grumpy engineer, and she's got a science officer that studied at the Vulcan Academy, but she's human, but she's very cold and very, how do I describe her? Lilith
Sternin.
from the Frasier program. Yeah, she's very Lilith. So she's not much to talk to or deal with because she's just the facts. And that's all. And she doesn't chit chat, So she's kind of dry. She's not very fun to be around. And
Now-
that's pretty much what we're working with now. Questions, thoughts?
Now, I was going to ask about the episodes that you've got penned, because looking at your website, which is StarTrekAnthology.com, it shows that you've got, 2 in production, and you've already got several mapped out.
Right.
What can you tell us about how you're structuring the episodes? How long are they? Are they going to be standard length?
They're not going to be full length. We wanted to go a little more short form so that we could deal with short attention span theater a little bit. And that also enables us to put out more product in a more timely fashion, because we're not doing, full hour episodes. They're more like 30 to 40 minutes.
If that.
And none are ever going to be exactly the same length. It's just however long it takes to tell the story.
It'll be longer than a vignette, but not quite a full episode.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere between vignette and full episode.
Yeah.
Well, you've got Another Door Opens, which is the pilot, and that's the one where we get Colt's backstory and the destruction of the Ajax and her climb to the top. And then you've got A Logical Solution, which is the story with Carmichael and Sokol stranded on a planet. We've also got a vignette that we're hoping to do a little ways down the road called Calling Home, where the whole thing takes place in crew quarters. And it's just a redress of the crew quarters set that we have available to us. It's every one of our lead characters calling home because they're about to leave for the outer rim of the galaxy to explore. And since they're going to be out of communications range for a while, the admiral says, well, you better, have your staff call home because they might not be able to talk to their folks for a while. And so we get a peek at everybody's personality, idiosyncrasies, and all of that as they call home.
It's kind of a episode similar to, if you remember, a MASH episode where they're doing letters to home.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. I hadn't even thought of that, but you're absolutely right, Alex. That's precisely.
But I thought that was original.
Watson, I quit.
Well, no, that's.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, come on! It serves for character development. You damn well know that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then we'll do it. Okay. Then we have the Gary 7 episode, which is called Floodgates. Gary and Roberta get mixed up in the Watergate situation in DC.
Now, all these episodes, the Kickstarter that you've got going, is that to cover all of these episodes?
Well, the initial funding we're looking for is going to help to pay for properly fitting uniforms, which are going to be made by Joe Kresman. That's the guy you were talking about last time. You were talking about. He's the guy with the cloth Kickstarter.
Okay.
That's Joe Kresman, and he's going to be making all of our uniforms. And he worked for Western Costume out in out in Los Angeles, and he knows his way around the studios, and he knows his way around Star Trek, and that's for sure. And he does absolutely gorgeous work, and that would also help pay for that initial 7,500 that would get us all of our ears for our Vulcan, all our makeup for our Andorians, and other makeup. We've got a new race on our ship that no one's ever seen before, a Denebian.
Yeah, tell us a little about that. Is that I think her it's a lieutenant's picture on your
Nee
character
Tomlin.
page.
Yeah, Nee Tomlin. The G is silent. It's not Gnee, it's Nee.
What's the background of that race?
Well, she's Denebian. Her people have a certain endemic quality about them that they have the ability to absorb and contain static electricity from their surrounding environment, and they can hang on to it and use it for a number of different purposes, including putting a protective shell around themselves, throwing up a force field,
or just party tricks.
Focusing it, or focusing it and using it from
Or
anywhere.
making their hair stand up. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. They can also use it as a blast wave or a stun or they can vaporize. I mean, they can take it to just about any level you could. Well, whatever the story requires, she can do that.
Actress who's portraying her, Felicia Shaw, she is amazing, and she's brought so much life to Nee. And Nee's going to be one of the more outstanding characters.
Well, Felicia's awesome because she's
just crazy.
she's just this groovy hippie chick,
Yeah.
and we just
we love her to death.
we love her patchouli butt to death. We really do. I mean, she is just a sweetheart, and she embodies what Nia is all about because she is a bundle of energy and just lively. She comes in and the whole room. Yeah.
Yep.
The whole
Youthful
room.
exuberance.
Exactly.
Yep, she embodies that.
So Jim, why aren't you one of these characters? Are you going to be guest starring as a renegade admiral soon?
He is going to be. We have not written the script yet, but Alex and I are going to put our heads together and write a script concerning a certain rogue scallywag
trader.
Oh, okay.
That Kirk,
I
my
got it.
boy. Harry Mudd.
Yep. Somewhere down the line.
I'm
Is this-
dying to play
is this-
Harry Mudd.
Is this before or after the android planet?
After.
Oh, thank God.
Oh no, after, definitely after.
Yeah,
I
even
want to know how he got away.
Oh, there'll be a story in that for sure.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorite moments in Trek is Harry going 500. Kirk, you can't. It's inhuman. Love that. It's delicious. So yeah, so I'm dying to play Harry, and we said, well, this is our show. Why not? We can do whatever self-serving thing we want to do. By God. But it has to be entertaining. It has to be fun, and it has to be not too serious. Because what we're doing is we're not taking it too seriously. There are a lot of other great fan Trek productions out there that take it very, very, very seriously, and God love them. And look at what they're doing. Wow. But it just feels so serious. We want to do something. Get out there. Walk away from canon just a little bit, kind of step to the left,
Also,
and do go into Strangeville a little bit. And
Actually, isn't it just a jump to the left? And
it's
to the right.
yes, that's right.
and another thing that's really important to us is, I don't know how many fan film productions out there are take on a particular cause, but we're promoting autism awareness. Not quite sure how yet, but that's in the plan. That's in the works. It's a cause very near and dear to us because our kids are on the spectrum. We know several people who are on the spectrum or who have family members on the spectrum, and I think it just be a great outlet for people
You guys gonna have? Are you guys gonna have characters like that in besides the Mother show? Are they gonna be in the other shows as well?
Well, our helmsman, Leclerc, his son is autistic, and part of that calling home episode is him calling home to talk to his mother because his son Jackie lives with his mom, and he says, "Look, I've talked to this master on Vulcan who thinks that he can help Jackie clear his mind, organize his thoughts. He's come up with a treatment program. I want you to bring him to Vulcan and see if we can get him to a place where he's comfortable with himself and he's not, because the way we're gonna, I mean, we haven't even written the thing yet, but it's basically he talks about how he's nonverbal and this could help him communicate his needs and his wants better, and help.
Who else better to understand the mind of an autistic person than a Vulcan?
Sure.
So we're
Wow,
really
the
gonna
room just
try
got
to
so
play.
serious. The room
These
just
guys got serious.
they got serious on us all of a sudden.
Why so serious?
It's actually a rather contemplative thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you have to sit there and you actually have to think about, though.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that's why we have these two characters in Mother.
How many Trekkies are somewhere on the spectrum? I mean, there's so many. How many science buffs are on the spectrum? How many have Asperger's? It's really a no-brainer. Really, I mean, there's
No pun intended.
no pun intended. No, but I really think this is a lot for a lot of people to understand and identify with.
But it's also really nice because it's a good thing to see that kind of character in the future.
Absolutely.
And people dealing with that as sort of a fact of life.
Right. I mean,
a characteristic.
Going back to Barclay, he was one of the more popular characters. And I don't think it was so much because he was so odd. I think it was because so many of us identified with him. We felt the same way that he felt, the awkwardness, the shyness,
And all of that intelligence, it was
exactly
there. It was
all
just
of that
trapped.
intelligence. Exactly. He didn't know how to socialize with people. And I said to Jim one night, "My God, he's got Asperger's." And it just blew my mind. So I really think they tried to tap into that somehow, but back when they were doing TNG, but I don't think they quite knew where to go with it at that point.
Although, to their credit, they did kind of flesh it out in Voyager.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they did.
They sure did.
They did. And he ended up being the damn hero of the whole thing, as far as
He-
I'm concerned.
He's one of my favorite characters. I always loved Barclay. Always. loved
Yeah,
him.
I especially like the episode where it's basically about him, the entire show. He
Mhm.
gets the signal through to Voyager in the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
And another thing that we're trying that we'd like to do with Anthology is bring in writers. Anybody who's tried to write a Trek story, submit it to us.
How
Send
can
it to
people
us.
do that?
See what you have. Yeah, this is what it's about. This is a learning experience.
Come
for
play with
everybody.
us, please.
Yeah.
Come play with us. We'd
Yeah,
like to
this is-
see how far we can
I
go
mean,
with this.
Alex, our director of photography, he's in film school right now for this, and I'm hoping that this is a wonderful learning experience for him.
It's been absolutely fantastic because the things that I'm learning, I'm learning by doing, and this is the stuff that you can't learn in college. I mean, you actually have to do it, and I thank Jim and Jodi for the opportunity to be able to do it. And we've got a great team, and I encourage any Trek fan, to come play with us. There's different ways and opportunities, and we're always looking for new people to come in and help and give their ideas and all that.
So, if people wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
Well, we have a Facebook presence. Star Trek Anthology on Facebook.
We're both
And
on
that's
Facebook too.
yep, and Jodi and I are both on Facebook.
We're not hard to find.
No, we're not hard to find at all. The best way to get through to us is through that Facebook portal, because you can make direct communication, and I basically live there anyway, so I can be reached night or day, usually through Facebook.
Excellent.
And there's also the website, which is StarTrekAnthology.com, so you can see what we're all about there. That's ever changing as well. But if you want the latest and weirdest, newest stuff, that Facebook presence is where you're going to find it, because we're constantly, just about every day, putting something else up there.
That's pretty much it, guys.
That's it.
Now,
We're going to be shooting in it. We were going to be shooting in April, but a wrench fell in the works and kind of fragged everything up. So we're having to push our schedule back a bit.
Life happens to
Well,
us.
a month or two, and then we'll be shooting. Our sadly, our Kickstarter is just about done, and it's going to be a faceplant. But I'm trying to be glasses half full, knowing that we learned a lot. This was our first attempt at a Kickstarter, so it was kind of herky jerky. Next time out, and there is going to be another one. We learned, and we're going to correct the mistakes that we made and do a whole lot better, and hopefully we can get our funds raised that we need.
Yep, it's all a learning experience.
Oh yeah, no, you can't. Well, you can pitch and cry if you want to, but that doesn't get the job done. You've got to just kind of go, okay, that hurt. Suck it up. Ow. Okay, all right, back to work.
A lot like
And
what
that's
Scott
how we've been
did.
dealing with it. I'm sorry, what?
It's a lot like what Scott did.
Kind of.
Then
Kind
he
of.
remembered to put on the big, huge leather gloves before flipping the switch.
That's right. Kind of. Yep. Ouch.
Oh, that's smart.
I hate when that happens. Anything else? Have I solved everyone's curiosity at this?
Totally bored them out
Or
of
have
their
I
skulls?
bored them out of their skulls?
When is this guy going to
Wait.
shut up?
You've eaten half of our show, and I'm sitting here loving every minute of it.
Oh, well,
We're
thank
not
you.
supposed to eat half. Do like I do. Just say you stop talking. God.
I don't want him to stop talking. It's entertaining.
Oh,
Well,
God.
okay then.
plus, if I wanted to do that, we've got a mute button, so.
Yeah, there is that. Cut them off. They've
How do
talked
you
long
do
enough.
that?
Cut them off.
Hey, don't do that.
We're not providing the information to his off switch. Sorry.
Oh, is that how that works? Okay.
All right.
Does not compute.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I haven't covered?
I think you've covered everything without giving the spoilers, Jim. I think.
Yeah, I know. I don't, and I'm like dying to tell all, but I can't. I don't want to ruin it. I mean, we've got some really cool surprises. What's been fun is when we decided we wanted to do something that was somewhere, in the Star Trek universe, but a little Twilight Zone-ish.
And have some humor in there.
And have some humor. So hey, Galaxy Quest, yeah, that kind of humor.
The original series was like that too.
Sure.
It's a big, huge morality play, but they're still poking fun at each other every chance they get.
Oh yeah, but this is where we're also every episode has little Easter eggs scattered about too.
Yeah,
where
I
you
kept stepping on them.
and
It's really horrible. Got the
yeah,
smell
you've
after a
really
while.
got to watch where you're
I
going.
know.
But there are little Easter eggs to other science fiction
Oh my.
here and there, little homages. There might be a line or a prop, and you've really got to keep your eyes and ears open and watch and listen, and you'll go, ha, 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 oh, there it is. Okay. And there's bunches of that all over the place.
My first officer's name is Adam Taggart. What was the captain's name in Galaxy Quest?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, Colt is unpacking in her quarters, and she reaches into the box and she pulls out a book, and there's an alien language written on it that looks oddly familiar. Where have I seen that book before? Oh yeah, it was in an episode of The Twilight Zone called "To Serve Man."
Yep.
So it's stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they're just little subtle hints. No
Little
one would ever
things
pick up
like that,
on.
or it might be a line. It might be a line somewhere, or something will happen earlier and it'll lead up to a punchline later, where something will come up, and then there's a punchline, and you go, "All right, good one, you got me." And that's that kind of stuff throughout every episode.
Talking.
So
I'm sorry.
I was about to say, so keep an eye out for R2D2, shall we?
You just never know. You never know. Or you might hear R2D2 sounds come from some control panel or something. You never know. I mean,
I want to know what kind of music we're going to put on the turbo lift, though.
oh yeah, there is that moment.
The girl from Ipanema, come on.
Well, Alex, I'll talk to you later. Jodi and I were talking about just one additional little cutscene when Colt and Taggart and the Doc are headed up to the bridge from her quarters after that other scene, and they're in the turbo lift. Something funny occurs in the turbo lift there, and it's going to be funny.
Hilarity ensues.
And hilarity ensues.
Somebody
now, I
pokes
can't
fun
say
about a
again. It's
green-blooded
spoilerific. I don't want to do
hobgoblin.
that, but it's a really funny bit. Alex, you're gonna freaking love it. It's gonna be. It's just nutty. It was a goofy idea I had the other night while playing a video game on my phone, and I heard the music on the game, and I went, you could play this in the turbo lift. And wouldn't that be funny if that happened?
Yes.
Just going up the lift, you're just holding on to the little thing, and all of a sudden you hear Nyan Cat playing in the background.
Okay, I'll tell you how the scene plays out. So got Alex right here. So they're in the turbo lift, and you hear this, but it's outer spacey sounding. That's the cool thing. I found this. There's this game called Two Dots. You can get it on your phone, and you start on Earth and you make your way to space playing this game. And once you get to space, the music changes into this really cool jazz, electronic, fusion, elevator music sounding stuff. It's really cool. It's really cool. And I listened to this. I said, you could play this in the turbo lift. And Jodi goes, yeah, we'll do a scene where they're standing there in the turbo lift, her and the Doc and Taggart, and she looks at the Doc, and the Doc looks at her, and she looks at Taggart. Taggart looks at her, and she looks back, and she goes,
Whose decision was it to put music in the turbo lift?
well, you're the captain.
I gotta pay better attention to what those things I sign.
Beautiful.
Yeoman.
Just silliness. Silliness abounds.
Just little things like that.
Just
I'm not
little
taking
things like
myself
that.
too seriously.
Yeah, well, because like I said, a lot of these productions, they take themselves so seriously, and hey, that's great, and that works for them. Doesn't work for me. We like to have more fun than that, and get silly and cut up, and who knows what bloopers will end up on the final reel. I mean, we may leave stuff in that happens.
Technician, bring me the forms I need to fill out the forms that I need to have that music removed from the turbo lift. Thank you.
Yeah, and then the bridge door opens and you hear that damn music again. It's like, oh, for the love of God.
Yeah, it'd be a little running.
Make it stop! Make it stop!
And then the door
That
closes
could almost
and
be a running joke, We could have that be a running joke.
Yeah.
Then
Every
you have,
every time the turbo lift opens, there's that music.
you know what?
Damn
You could
music again.
even have the turbo lift doors closing, and then you got the subway chime. Boom, boom.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a little airplane thrown in there as well. Why not? Sure.
Oh.
Ever seen a
Surely
girl
not.
naked, Johnny?
Johnny, do you like gladiator movies?
Well, I did have one idea for a story a while ago where some kind of bacterial spore goes through the air system on the ship, and everyone begins to hallucinate. And here's Colt sitting in the center seat. She looks at the view screen, and there's a guy out there cleaning the window with a
With a squeegee.
with a squeegee. some bum with a dirty rag and a squeegee cleaning the view screen.
That'll be $3, man.
I just need $5 for a gizzard dinner.
And a quarter for a cup of coffee.
And a quarter for a cup of coffee. A quarter? Where do you get your coffee?
I don't know. It's probably those 1950 movies they flick on TV every so
Well,
often.
back then it was a dime or a nickel. But
Whatever.
hey,
That and a nickel will buy you a cup of coffee, Johnny.
yeah, that's right, Johnny. That and a nickel will buy you a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
No, for a 25-cent cup of coffee, you're
Come
getting
here,
it from
you.
1950 Starbucks.
We're not against doing Buck Rogers kind of stuff.
Bitty bitty bitty.
What? Disco?
No, I'm not that Buck Rogers. I'm talking
Buster Crab.
Buster
Flash
Crab
Gordon,
kind of. Yeah.
Buck Rogers.
Buster the body crab, yeah.
No, not Buster. Stop that.
What? There's a wrestler, wasn't it?
Danger,
don't know.
Taggart, danger.
But no Lost in Space. No.
Oh, come on.
No.
I grew up.
Just one large carrot. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, the pain.
Anyway, that's.
Yeah, what
our
a
brains have been pretty much squeezed.
yeah, what a
at this
captain
point.
he was. He sends his 2 daughters off with a virile young guy and sends his son off with that other guy who I wouldn't trust. What was he thinking? That's what I call command savvy right there.
Well, the rest of the family were kind of red shirts at that point.
Basically.
That was a fun show.
Oh, it was, yeah, it was all right. I mean,
It's what I like to call Brannigan's Law.
yes, Lily Teranga. You're very, very sensual.
I was a little baby. Star Trek came out. It was way over my head, so I watched Lost in Space and the Three Stooges every day after school. Childhood
There's a
memories.
mashup. There's a mashup. Lost in Space and the Three Stooges.
Oh my God. Oh, the gears are going now.
Warp speed, you knucklehead.
Is anybody else
What do you mean
thinking
we're
of?
lost in space?
Buddy, I don't feel lost.
No respect. No respect.
I've just started thinking of short circuits with all that.
Which one of these buttons turns this thing on?
Make it stop! Make it stop!
Make it stop! Make it.
Yeah,
I
we
made
have
my
problems.
I made my dog. I made my dog bark. Great. My dog is upstairs barking. Shh. Well, we've taken up the first hour of your lovely program.
And
I
we
think
wouldn't
we've
have
covered
it
all
any
the
other
bases.
way because it's been wonderful.
Oh, we had a ball. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much for having us.
That's all right. Well, let us know when you've got some more updates, and we'll be sure to get the information out
Oh,
there.
we'll be sure to tune you in, and we'll let you know when things premiere too, and we can just go nuts.
Well, we already go nuts anyway, but
Well, I mean, we can
beside
go
the point.
really nuts then. I mean,
No,
know.
I have a reputation to not that good, but you know.
let me tell you something about your. Never mind. I'll talk to you later.
Why, I oughta.
Why I ought to pound you.
Did you just want to let everybody know how they can get hold of you one last time?
One last time, you can find us on Facebook. That's Starship. Star Trek Anthology. Hit me on the back of the head with. Ow! All right. Okay. Star Trek Anthology on Facebook and www.StarTrekAnthology.com.
And are you on any other social
look for our
networks?
Kickstarter as well.
Now, are you on any other social networks like Twitter or anything?
All of them. All
Yes.
of them.
Yes.
Yes. All of them. Our cyber guy, Scott Smith, our cyber guru, Scott Smith, has seen to it that we have an incredible presence out there. It just exploded. He's the guy who's made it
They're
all
even
happen.
on Pinterest and Reddit.
Yep. Yes,
We are.
Yes,
We
we're
are?
on Pinterest.
I didn't know that.
Wow, the
You're
captain
on Pinterest.
was
You
in the
should know
dark.
this stuff.
So yeah, if you'd like to get
Pinterest.
hold of them via Twitter, it is at Trek Anthology. Google Plus, you can find them at Star Trek Anthology Channel. For YouTube is Star Trek Anthology Channel again. Pinterest is Trek Anthology. And I think that's all the other ones, isn't it?
I believe it is. We tried to make it easy.
Not from where not from. I think they have the LinkedIn as well.
What, we're not on the NASA channel? Give me a break.
Oh, good
Scott, you're
Lord.
slipping up.
Scott, man, why?
Scott.
Great Scott.
Great Scott. But see, that's why we have a Scott, because I'm terrible at this kind of thing. I'm old school.
I'm cyber stupid.
You're just old.
Yeah. Well,
It
I'm
took
just
me
old,
3.5 hours to get this darn software installed. You
And then he
crazy
forgot to push
kids.
the button at the start.
When I was your age, we had a rock and we were happy.
Well, before you go,
You darn kids with your rock and roll music and your 8-track tapes.
before you go, we always end the interviews with a question from Woody.
Okay.
I'm from Australia, so you probably understand where I come with this question. Have you ever tried Vegemite?
Yes.
Yuck.
Yes. I went to the World's Fair in 1982 in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was a wee 11 or 12 or
Were
13.
you a wee
very-
lass?
I
Is
was
that
a
what
wee
you
lass.
were?
Yes, and I did try Vegemite.
It's foul. I've tried it. It's foul. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Kibble. Vegemite is definitely, there's nothing in the world that can even describe what Vegemite is.
What is it made out of?
It's veggie and mite. It's like Cheese Whiz. If someone hands you Cheese Whiz, I want to know how much whiz is in the cheese. That's my first question.
Actually, this is the thing that this is the thing that sort of like really surprises people on how Vegemite is actually made. It's actually yeast extract from making beer.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. That I did not know.
So it's basically stuff that no one would really want to consume regularly.
Do you like Vegemite?
I do. I'm an Aussie. We expect.
It's
What
it's
does one put Vegemite on? Like toast?
bread.
Yeah, toast, Vegemite sandwich, crackers. Some people will have it with cheese.
There's
Now,
the
see,
whiz.
now I might be able to with
Maybe
a nice slab of
Henry
cheese.
might like that.
Well, Henry might. Henry Gibbons, our visual effects guy. He's in Brisbane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Henry might not.
It's
like
Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Thank
I'll
you.
have to. Thank you. I'll have to
that-
ask Henry if he likes Vegemite.
Well, actually, I just thought of something. There's something else you can probably add to a script. It says, I need that memo that we're going to confiscate Vegemite from this ship.
See, now that could be a plot for Mother, seeing as how it is a freighter. They could be carrying
A shipment of Vegemite.
yes, a shipment of Vegemite to the
And
Australian
Tribbles break out.
Yes.
Yes.
To what? What was that? I didn't catch it. What?
Tribbles break out. They have to
Consuming
confiscate all
Vegemite.
Consuming the Vegemite. Oh God! And they mutate.
Start playing didgeridoos.
Exactly.
That's it.
They don't trill anymore.
Hey, there we go. It was a ship that was actually doing an illegal trade of shipping Vegemite to the Romulans for Romulan ale. How's that sound?
You want to
That
come aboard our
sounds-
writing team? I'm liking this better and better.
I-
Just the
I
kind of
think we-
silliness we cotton to.
Well, I haven't really played with it very much lately, but you familiarised with Star Trek Online?
Familiar with it, yeah, but I never played it.
We're gonna have to play.
Now
yeah,
we're gonna
there's-
have to
We've
play.
had several people go, you gotta play Star Trek Online.
There's there's a part there called it's called the Foundry, but it's actually user generated content where authors can actually create their own featured, sort of like own featured episode storyline
Oh,
style
cool.
mission for other people to play. So that's what I do
And it's
in some way or another.
it's free to play too, right? Star
Yes.
Trek
That's
Online.
correct, yeah.
Okay. Okay. That I like.
Yeah, see, that's what was killing me playing WoW, is it just got expensive.
Well, $15 every month, you know.
Yeah.
For what? Getting really mad.
Yeah, for getting really mad, getting ganked all the time. That was hate getting ganked.
Oh, it's a good thing with Star Trek Online. It's not exactly walk outside the castle and you're susceptible to be
Yeah.
PK'd, basically. So yeah, it's pretty much like a follow-on from the storyline.
Is it
About
is it like
30,
is it
30
an
years after Nemesis.
is it an RPG or what kind of game is it?
I believe so. Help me out here,
Okay.
guys.
I have to go check it out.
Yeah, it's
I'll check
sort
it
of
out.
like still be, well, starting off with the Federation, you go off to, final days of, or, finalizing everything you do from the academy. You go out and on a ship to do your final testing and stuff like that, and
Cool.
get ambushed and from the Klingons because we've
All
twisted
hell
turn
breaks
from
loose,
Nemesis.
essentially.
Yeah.
Hilarity
Insanity.
ensues.
Insanity ensues. Yes.
And fortunately, with what after J.J. Abrams done was, we do have a destroyed destroyed Romulus and stuff like that. So
sounds cool.
Don't get me started.
What, you can choose one of three factions. You can be a Klingon character, you can be a Federation character, or you can be partially Romulan.
With the Romulan faction, you decide whether you want to join the Federation or the Klingons after the 10th level, where you then
So,
continue with
partially Romulan. Is that like sort of pregnant?
yeah, it's sort of like I'll usually put it in simple words. For the Romulans, it's sort of like they've found a new planet. They call it New Romulus. Reforming everything. The Tal Shiar's sort of like fallen apart, and they've reformed government into a new republic, basically. So the Tal Shiar doesn't have the power it used to, and it's pretty much like instead of having its own little faction in the game, they've set it up that you go seek employment either through the Federation or the Klingons.
So it's choose a faction day, basically.
Yeah.
It sounds like fun.
And of course, as you'd expect, you get to make the decision at Kittimer.
I love it. Okay, now I'm getting interested. Don't look at me like that. I'm getting interested. She's looking at me funny.
She gave you that look, didn't she?
Yeah, I'm getting the look. You know the look. You've seen that. She's giving you the look.
Yeah,
You know
she's
the
thinking, yeah, we're hoping to release this stuff in 2015, not 2025.
No, sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll have to check it out for sure.
I'm still attached to Trexels.
Well, thank you all again for joining us.
Thank you so much for
huge
having us. This
blast
was a
having you.
blast. We had an absolute blast.
Blast doesn't even see now. We got to have them on our conference calls, Jim.
Oh yeah, because we get really goofy on our conference calls.
Hey, I'm there. If it's about the storyline and all that, I'm there. Just throw out a couple of pitch ideas and everything.
Bring it on.
Guys, friend us on Facebook.
Yeah, friend us on Facebook.
Yeah,
Already
definitely.
done.
And you'll get the inside track.
We really do appreciate
The
the
inside track.
Oh, you're funny. You're
Oh,
comedian.
I made it funny. Yeah. God, we're weird.
Anyway.
Thanks for having us, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Definitely. We'll be listening to you guys, and thanks again.
No worries.
Very much.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
See ya.
So now we've got a load of stuff to talk about. Star Trek Online. So we've had quite a lot come out in this last sort of week. Now, first up is actually about Delta recruitment. Now, we got this fancy little Klingon poster Now, sort of had a look at this bit last week. So it's a little bit more about sort of what's coming out. But it didn't really give much in the way of details. So, what have you guys thought about everything that's been coming out so far?
What's with this poster? It's kind of interesting.
Have you actually rolled over it?
I see it changes to Klingon.
Yeah. I did like that little
I've,
touch.
I've heard quite a lot of people say, I really wish that could be on a shirt. Yeah, it tells us a little bit more about what's going to be happening with the Iconians. But of course, it later goes into some more detail in one of the other blogs, which we'll sort of get round to in a moment. But yeah, it sort of tells us about we get some rewards when reaching the different levels, because of course this is all based around actually leveling up a new character, which you get these special rewards. So you'll get something at level 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50, and you're also going to get some extra rewards for reaching levels 1 and 5 on any R&D school with these characters as well. So the next bit of information we then get was titled New Episode Uneasy Allies. So again, it sort of tells us a bit more about sort of after celebrating the 5th anniversary, they sort of teased about a threat coming when we actually get to meet what's a recurring role within Star Trek Online from Denise Crosby. So it's sort of continuing the sort of stuff from Surface Tension. So now we're actually getting this new episode. It's actually this coming Thursday now, isn't it?
When isn't the crystalline enemy event and then?
I think when does the crystalline end?
I thought it was the 26th.
28th?
Oh, it goes a little longer. I thought this was going to time perfectly with the end.
It might have originally, but I think because of some issues they had, it may have been extended.
There was issues?
There was. So, but yeah, whether or not the crystalline, not entity, because it's the Cataclysm event, will still be going, I'm not sure. But yeah, I haven't looked at the in-game calendar recently. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to sort of play this new episode. So yeah, we haven't got wait too much longer now. Now,
No.
some of the other. Sorry, what are you about to say something?
No. It's just that, yeah, no, don't have long, terribly long.
Now, other news that we've got is about the new specializations. They're going to be extending pilot, because what they found is, though that's a secondary specialization, lots of people liked it. So they're increasing it from from secondary to primary. So when season 10 launches, that will gain another load of levels you can go through and some extra traits that go along with it. So they're also going to be changing that you can actually make a primary into a secondary, aren't they? So that's going to be interesting. Definitely gives a lot more options.
Here's my question, though. Is it going to take the next Tuesday of never for them to make Commando a full specialization? Because we've seen a lot of people who actually enjoy ground, like Terry Lynn from G&T. And at this point, we're seeing more space-geared stuff in the specialization than we are ground. And even though the last couple of main specializations we've had have been split almost evenly, you seem to be getting a lot more bang for buck out of the space stuff than you do the ground stuff, unless you're going into the commando tree.
One thing I've always found is people tend to prefer space over ground for the most part.
Are you being impartial, Midnight?
Well, no, I have found that there are people who do like Terry Lynn and a load of other people. There are a lot of people who do enjoy
But
ground.
you personally like space more, as you've said.
Yeah,
several
personally
times.
I do, but I have also found with playing with lots of different groups of people that people do tend to play space a lot more than they do with the ground
Yes,
missions.
I think we're seeing the market realities of the player base. I really enjoyed ground too. I would love it if it expanded, but I think the majority rules in this game.
And the thing is how do you put ground traits into a piloting without changing the name and a load of other things? So I think that's why we're seeing more space in this one. And to be honest, what I think they might do is do this one change, see how it goes, and then they might expand the commando one. Because if it doesn't work and nobody tends to use it, then what's the point in changing another one?
I know I've put my secondary is commando. I've put a bunch into it, but I just lately haven't been playing much ground stuff. I wish there was more.
That's because there's currently not an event that's running that's for
Yeah.
ground only. You know,
I know,
if they
but-
had a 3-week event where you had to run a ground mission, I'm pretty sure people would be doing it.
Yeah,
they would.
I
Well,
like
now-
the Voth area, but I don't know. I just haven't been super encouraged lately, but I still like ground stuff. But you guys are right. An event would definitely help.
Well, for me personally, I don't mind if I do space or ground. I quite enjoy doing ground, but also quite enjoy doing space stuff as well. And also the simple fact is too, with me trying to get R&D stuff, I'm going to have to do some ground to get the
bug
R&D I need. I need to get me tech upgrades done. So, eventually people are going to be needing to do that unless they just do the easy way and just hit the exchange for it all.
No, but unless you need those special items for your R&D, I mean, you could potentially avoid ground. Like if you're just focusing on beam stuff, for instance, just play crystalline entity over and over and over for your radiogenic particles. So I think you guys are right. I think an event would really help.
Yeah,
Can I
definitely.
just put something out? It is March 26th at 1 p.m. when it ends. The crystalline
See,
entity, right?
That's what I thought. So it's
But
sort of
I heard it was
aligns
being
with-
pushed back. That's in the chat and stuff. That it was being pushed back because of all the, what do you want to call it? Buffing and so forth, and getting knocked out.
How many of you guys are close to the 14?
Oh, I completed mine yesterday.
Yeah, I got mine. Yeah, I got mine 2 days ago.
Because I missed a day because I was working so much that I didn't even get a chance to just do my dailies and do the CC event quickly, which is
Yeah.
all I've been able to do this last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I
pretty
got
much.
3 left.
I get mine tonight, I think.
I'm pretty much going in and getting it, so now to just get the extra marks into lithium.
Yeah. So, but I've only been running it on the one character this year because I just honestly haven't had the time to do anything more with the other characters. So
I don't know. I'm actually lately my intelligence specialization is going up, and I can get the packs and stuff. But I honestly haven't been super thrilled by the kit modules. I don't know. It's just not as tricked out as the space stuff.
well,
See, and that's another thing. You know, a lot of people say they don't like ground. That's because they kind of
Right.
they're kind of in a position where they can't tank everything like they can in space.
Yeah, and they can have endless possibilities. So it's not as
Unless
it's
they
not
have the
as
shard. let's get that straight. They can't have endless possibilities unless they have the shard
What do you mean by the shard?
of possibilities.
Oh, I got it.
That's a
Okay.
joke. Yeah, that was a joke. Thanks
I
for
was
finally
waiting for
getting it.
something I had missed.
But yeah, with any luck, they may do something for ground. Especially now they've, what was it, a few weeks ago, we'd reported that they'd actually increased the rewards for like the Furrow Ground, and also done some extra stuff as well for with rewards for the Voth Battleground. So, So yeah, but no, the thing is that although I do prefer space, I do actually enjoy doing ground, but it's just an awful lot harder when you're using a mouse pad. So yeah, space for me is an awful lot easier because a lot of my stuff I can literally keybind to the space bar for when I'm firing all weapons, and sort of regenerating my shields. So yeah, space is just an awful lot easier in my circumstances as well. But no, I do enjoy doing ground. So, yeah.
A little bit
My
of a
only my only fear here is that they will do the pilot thing and then wind up leaving Commando alone to do an entirely new specialization. That is my only fear. Is that they're going to leave that alone, and that will literally become the only secondary pilot thing, the only secondary thing that exists, because it's not a primary as well. That's my fear.
Yeah, it might happen.
Yeah, I guess we will have to wait and see. Next up, this weekend we're doing the research and development weekend. I believe that's just till Monday, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully you guys in the chat room will have to make use of that. I'm getting some extra XP, which I'm enjoying. I'm trying to get all my schools up to 16, so I've got 2 more to get from 15. So yeah, this weekend I'll be able to get I think which one it is now. I think it's ground weapons.
Oh, you have them all to 16? I think
Yeah, I've got beams on 17, everything apart from, what is it, projectiles and shields, I think it is, that's on 15 still.
Is there any advantage to getting up past 16? I mean, you get a little more experience at 16.
Well, I don't know if this has been confirmed or not by anybody, but there's been back and forth that they're going to make craftable epic technologies.
What?
Like upgrades, yeah. So if anything, I would assume that would be a level 20 thing.
But do you think you would need the crazy R&D DOF to do that crazy thing?
Probably, yeah. Because
Yeah.
if you're crafting the purple ones, you need the blue crafting materials. So if you're going to be crafting these epic ones, you're probably going to need the purple crafting materials.
I think those R&D DOFs are kind of a pain in the ass. I'm kind of annoyed that they're so hard to get, and though they're supposed to drop, randomly in the R&D assistance, I haven't seen any. I got one in a Delta or a Vendoir box, and I was surprised by that. But other than that, I haven't seen them other than the exchange for millions of credits.
Yeah, but going back to that school of getting it past 16, doing 16, 17, 18, it'd probably be pretty handy to do that, to get it higher, because it creates a bit more of a critical chance of crafting 2 instead of 1 of the tech upgrades.
But once you're up to 16,
especially the purple ones.
Once you're up to 16 and even 15, it's almost a given if you're using a plus 30 R&D DOF.
Yeah, that's also handy too. But for people who got a bit of a mixed bag, or starting a bit earlier than usual with their character and stuff like that, it's probably also very handy to try and get it up there to level 20 just to give that extra helping hand as well.
Do you guys have how many of you guys have some of the special R&D dots, either the common or the purples?
Yeah, because of all the crafting stuff because when we changed over from the old system, people who had got the certain levels actually got one of those, or at least one of those, when they actually signed in, and it converted everything. So I think I got one of them.
Yeah, there's
a master crafter on.
Yeah,
a few tunes.
for me personally, I ended up having to buy the common, or most of the stuff, the beam, the disruptor
research
beam.
assistant, is it?
No, it's a
energy weapon officer or something.
Yeah, I had to get the common one for to do my omnidirectional beam array. To disrupt the beam array, and it was cheaper on the Klingon side with the versions there, but the Fed side was like $7.5 million each. So, and I know to get the purple versions comes from the lockbox, so there's no chance of me getting it from that, and even buying it off the exchange was like 25 million. So I just stuck to the common one. I got one pretty much what I want, which is something with. Of course, I was the arc on it, but it's also got accuracy and damage as well. So I've got something good, and I'm slowly in the process of getting it upgraded. So see where we go.
Yeah, those guys are real pricey. I think that the Fed one is about 7 or 8 million last time I checked. The Duke bid or something, the R&D. I just, boy, it's crazy. it's very crazy to get all these up to Epic or even up to Mark 14. It's a lot of dilithium.
Indeed,
it's pretty much making me kick myself a bit much there to not caught on to the Omega upgrades during the anniversary event to get that get a bit more involved in that and get some more out of that to try and get stuff at least upgraded, not so much change color.
Maybe Stunny can let you borrow some of those. She was very expert in that.
I'll be patient and wait for the next time it comes around, even if it's next year anniversary event.
Yeah, I think I managed to get 14 of those upgrades through.
Oh my god, 14! Really? Of those Omega things? I got one, I think.
Yeah, I managed to get 14. Some of the materials I got from the exchange when they were on their low, and I just because when I'm doing other stuff, like if I'm working, what I'll tend to do is I'll set the scanning game going while I'm working and switch back and forth, and so yeah, I was able to sort of pick up a fair amount, although not as much as I probably could have if I'd been playing it properly, because I never managed to get anything more than probably about 650 points. Even if I was concentrating hard on it, it's just like, oh.
I'm the same way. I could never get anything over 800, and I know there's other people on the show that got a lot more, but I could never really do that. So I only played it occasionally and got one, but that would be very helpful for upgrades.
Yeah, no, I did think about turning my graphics settings down to remove the lag that kept jumping whole streams of Omega particles past me, and then I thought, I've only just got my new laptop and actually got graphics which aren't crap. No, I'm not putting it back down to that at this point. I'm liking it, seeing good graphics for once. So it's just like, no, sod it. I'll just put up with getting one each time. It's just like, no. So, but yeah, hopefully people can make use of the R&D weekend this weekend. You're getting, I think it's 50% extra XP for all the projects. So your usual 6,000 is now 9,000, and of course if you crit makes it 10. So that will definitely help, even if you can only log in once a day. One of the schools that I've got to finish only needs, I think it's something like 50,000 XP remaining. So I've set off the maximum 3 for the school today, so I'll then do another couple tomorrow, so that will max that one out. So yeah, that's definitely shaved a couple of days off for getting that one up to 16. So yeah, that's going to be good. Now, going back to future content. That doesn't quite sound right, does it? We've had 2 more blogs that came out. One is the Herald Sphere, and one is debriefing session 28. Now, we'll go with briefing because that sort of links to one of the previous blogs we talked about with the Uneasy Allies a little while ago. So that was all about briefing a certain subject that is in custody of the Romulan Republic. So, so yeah, they've got Seela, haven't they?
Yeah, it's not too surprising since her picture's right there.
Yeah. But no, I thought it is sort of quite interesting, especially sort of how she sort of approached them about whether she was a prisoner of a war or whether she was a hostage, and I thought that's a good point.
No, it's not. Like I've been telling people this like all week. If I was in the position of that interrogator, I would be screwing with her so bad. She's like, "But you're changing the rules," and I'm just like, "I'm just using your playbook, dear." After all, isn't this a game to you and all of us? Now, are you a knight or are you a rook?
But yeah, it's definitely worth the read. As usual, it'll be in the show notes. But yeah, this is obviously leading up to what's coming out in next week's mission. Now, the other blog that we've got is the Herald Sphere. So, yeah, this one sort of, yeah, it made me think. It's just like they'd got stuff about design ships and sent them to sort of keep open gates, and I'm thinking, well, if the Iconians are attacking, why would you want to hold the gate open? Or you'd want it to close it?
Well, no, that's not the point. The point is to get inside their other sphere, because somehow Seela's leaked this information that there's a third one that's bigger than the other two.
Yeah. But yeah, but as I said, it's just you're thinking it's going to be for an attack. The gateways are going to be used as an attack, so why just sit starships there to? And why would it be a starship? Why not a satellite or? Yeah, it just didn't make sense, that part. Why a starship designed for just keeping it open?
And yet they continue to say the Klingons having a bird of prey battle cruiser is just silly. Yes, guys, I'm going to keep bringing this up for every silly and weird thing that comes out. I'm just going to keep bringing it up.
But no, I'm definitely looking forward to the new content that's coming out. So, but yeah, it's this is the Herald Sphere is a new 5-player cross-faction queue, which will be available at level 50 and above. And yeah, it's going to have the standard normal, advanced, and elite versions. So yeah, we've basically got to go in and disrupt the plans of the Iconians. But it definitely looks like more of a sort of, in some of the images, it almost looks, especially that bottom one, it almost looks like it's actually a sort of city down there for this one.
Yeah, I'll go chase it up and we'll make sure it's in the show notes. But I have seen a YouTube video of someone actually playing the event and giving it a try and stuff like that. So it has a good look at what the sphere looks like and whatnot as well. So it is quite a nice looking sphere, I must admit.
Yeah,
Even
because I
though
think
I'm just a bit with the actual the rewards from this particular PvE event, because it's now bringing out a Iconian marks. Now that's usually means that even though it's it's pretty much it comes to a conclusion, even though it's not officially released yet, that we're probably going to be having a Iconian reputation coming up as well.
yeah, but we always do get a new reputation system each season now, don't we?
Well, no. Let's be honest here. At this point in what we're playing, sure, we're going to have an Iconian reputation, but it's not from the perspective of us fighting Iconians. That, from a game perspective, cannot happen. Because why are we going to be fighting something that can destroy our weapons, our ship, and us with a flick of a wrist? That can't happen. From this reputation's perspective, we're going to be researching Iconian technology. And I guarantee you that's what all that stuff is going to be. Because there's no way at this point we can fight Iconians ourselves.
Yeah, no, we'll be fighting the servitor races again.
Yeah, so heads up, everyone. There's going to be a new reputation coming out.
I don't know. I'm at 5 with all the rest. So.
It's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
sort
maxed
of
out
been
them.
trying to say that probably just need to ease up on these economic systems that's coming out. With the reputations and stuff like that. There's reputations galore, left, right, and center now, and it's sort of like, it's just probably just starting to go a little bit overboard with it all now.
I don't think this is going unnoticed. That's all I'll say. I don't think this there is all good feelings about the way, sort of the direction of these things heading in terms of grinding and the economics of this.
Yeah, especially if it's something that can only last 6 weeks. It's yeah.
The other thing that's coming out, there's a blog called Brotherhood of the Sword. The Klingons are attacked.
Again?
So, yes.
Again! Quit picking on the Klingons!
Woohoo! I mean, but no, Kronos is being invaded. So we're talking about ground missions. Well, it looks like you have another one. So basically, the first city is in flames, and it's a cross-faction queue. So basically, all the Alpha and Beta Quadrant allies are going to help defend the Klingon homeworld.
Is this a prelude to redoing the first city?
I thought that as well.
Because I finally broke down and I played all the Klingon content last weekend. And boy, the first city is looking old and grody.
Well, it's not that. The fact that when we're doing the Klingon content, there's a lot of disjointed missions in that content that make Klingon City look completely different from different areas.
I know, and there's some parts that are good. I didn't love all that content, and it felt very neglected. But yeah, the first city is looking really outdated. So this might be a prelude to spicing it up or sprucing it up a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be nice if they did that. Now,
Klingons might actually get a motorcycle.
But yeah, the Brotherhood of the Sword will be a new 5-player cross-faction queue, and it'll be designed for level 60 players with the normal, advanced, and elite versions. So yeah, as we sort of mentioned about wanting more ground content, well, we'll have another one.
Well, at least it'll be something to do. I just wonder, why do the Klingons keep getting picked on?
The Klingons?
Yeah, well, no, but see, that's the thing. Why would you want to...
Well, it's a way to...
From all of the interplay we've had with the Iconians and all that, why would the Iconians choose the Klingons to invade when it's
maybe it's a test. If they can beat up the Klingons, they can beat up anyone, just like Worf on TNG.
Well, no, they've already kind of proven that they could beat up the Klingons because with the flick of a wrist,
they just vaporized a few people in the Great Hall.
She vaporized the entire High Council.
Yeah. Now they want to try it again.
It could be one of two things. I see it is one. It's a way to look more at the Klingon side to try and get more people playing it, or two, there's going to be more things happening that we haven't been told about. So, yeah, either we'll find out that there are maybe other attacks or other missions that might be coming out, or yeah, this is just to help push, because as we've sort of seen from the last infographic that came out, that yeah, the Klingons player base is still small. So maybe it's just a way to say, the Klingons are here, do you want to give them a try? So, especially as the largest amount of the player base are actually Feds. So, yeah, I think it's one of those two, to be honest.
Yep.
Now, one of the things that I found in the forums is we'd actually got from Flying Targ was one huge forum post. Now, it's basically titled Upcoming Item Change for Season 10. So, now, the dev even goes to say, first, here's the TLDR. So, too long, didn't read. We have removed a ton of items from the game, but nothing should have changed for your characters. Be on the lookout for inventory slots containing a black box that cannot be moved or deleted. Also be on the lookout for items that have either incorrectly changed to a different item, or have the wrong mark level, quality, or mods. Please report any of these issues to us in this thread so we can fix them on Tribble as quickly as we can. As it said in that statement, this is only a change at the moment for Tribble. Now, basically what's happening is when they started the game, every item that they have is its own separate item. So what they say is you have 12 common phaser sniper rifles. Then you've got another, for each of them, you've then got 5 uncommon sniper rifles. And then you've got the rare phaser sniper rifles and the very rare ones. So basically it says altogether they would have 624 different phaser sniper rifles. And then they say that if they had 6 different damage types for each of their own sniper rifles, and this could just be one of 12 different types of ground weapons, in total it adds up to 44,928 different items just for ground weapons. So they're looking to simplify it. So anybody who's testing on Tribble, if you want to go over and take a look, yeah, record what it is you've got and what you're wanting to double check. So if you've got some favourite bit of kit, go check it out. Make sure you don't lose it when Season 10 goes live.
What's the sum up of this? Because it's Friday afternoon, and I'm looking at text, and I just see text. Does that mean...
You're looking at it going, yeah, too long, didn't read.
I can't even, my brain doesn't even work right now. So does it mean that they're going to reduce the levels? They're going to take some common stuff away? What's the sum up here that I'm not catching?
From what I could tell, is using new tech that they've got, is they're getting rid of a lot of items, but they're basically being converted into newer versions. So basically, I think what it's saying is they'll have a base item which will have different mods on top of it. So whether that mod is also a quality mod, or
Oh, okay.
so they will be going down from having tens of thousands of items to one with options.
Right. So there might be like generic hand weapon that could have mods to make it like a sniper rifle or a pistol
Well,
or
this
something.
is definitely one way to clean up the crafting system too.
Yeah, and I
think
think that
that's-
might
yeah.
have what's led to this, because people have been asking for ways to sort more things out with mods and do more things with weapons that you've got by choosing stuff. Of course, if everything that they add, they've got to add thousands and thousands of items to the database. Well, no wonder so many things take so long to get changed when it comes to like a simple animation on one of the guns. Because if you've then got to put that change on thousands and thousands of items, yeah, that just takes so long. So, but yeah, what I got from this post was that, yeah, they're changing things to make things a little bit easier. So, but as well as ground weapons, you've also got space items, because of course we've got different mods and everything else for those different things, different qualities, and so yeah, it looks like they're doing basically a data clean when it comes to the items and how it's stored within the database by the looks of things. And hopefully that will mean it'll be easier to do things, as was mentioned, within crafting, and not to mention hopefully adding things as well. So hopefully we'll get sort of new weapons and consoles maybe sooner than we have had in the past, if it's this difficult to sort of make all these items. So yeah, I found that quite interesting, although I haven't had time yet to give it a try. So yeah, if anyone listening knows more about any of this or has tested it, then please let us know. Interested to sort of find out what you all think. So yeah, the last item on the list. Now we've had various reports from sort of Massively OP, from GameSpot, and the like, which reported on layoffs from Perfect World. There's been no official word from Cryptic or Perfect World regarding this, but from what we've been able to tell from social networks and these reports is that 2 people from Star Trek Online have gone, and around 18 people have gone altogether. So
yeah, from Cryptic Studios, they probably lost about 14% of their staffing levels, mostly from the Dungeons and Dragons Neverwinter game.
Neverwinter, yeah.
Yes.
Well, but it was sort of that and STO being the big hit in this, at least the things I've read.
Yeah, or as far as I know, STO only lost like one person from Cryptic Studios and the community manager from who's pretty much on the PWE payroll more than the Cryptic payroll.
Yeah, Trevor, Captain Smirk, was part of Perfect World Entertainment as community manager, and from Cryptic, from Star Trek Online, there was Matt Miller, who he'd previously worked with City of Heroes before he came across to Star Trek Online.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I read too. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I read a long thread of comments where everyone sort of got all their angst out about the game, but no one really talked about where they thought it was going, and what if this was a barometer of things in terms of how successful it was or what it was maybe not achieving at the PWE level. But I don't know. I'm wondering what you guys thought.
Well, there's no rumors about it that the CEO or the founder or owner of Perfect World Entertainment wants to get it delisted from Wall Street. or off the Nasdaq, is putting share offer down and stuff like that, and there's a lot of umming about it at the moment. But I'm taking a wild guess that with all the redundancies that's going on, because it's not, it did affect quite a lot of the PWE games as well. To what extent, I don't know. But they're obviously doing this to make the books look good for this particular share buyback and delisting. So
I did read something also about like some secret project, like some project that they want to release in the future that they're putting a lot of eggs in their basket for.
Oh, the super secret project.
Yeah.
I did. I think it might have been the Massively OP report. I think might have been the one that reported it, but they said that those secret ones are not actually touched at all by the layoffs.
Right, which means they might be refocusing funds to that kind of stuff, which is interesting.
I think it's more interesting, though, myself personally, that every time we talk or we've heard from, like, Gecko and all of these people who are high up in the chain with Star Trek Online, they say we really don't have the people that we need to actually make this game as good as we make this game, even though we make it pretty good. And in this same vein, we see a whole bunch of people being laid off across all of these games for the sake of somebody's books.
But then that's business, isn't it?
I understand that that's business, but at the same time, this kind of gives legitimacy to Cryptic, saying we don't get the people we need, and when we do get the people we need, we make awesome stuff, and then they fire everybody.
Yeah, because unfortunately, because there's been no official word, we just don't know. But from what developers have said, that the game has been doing well. But yeah, we don't know what goes on at sort of board levels because they look at stuff that's completely different. Now, yeah.
Well, it did it did come as a bit of a surprise in hindsight that they, did this on a Monday. I was thinking something like this would probably be done on a Friday or something like that. And it did upset quite a lot of people in Cryptic Studios and stuff like that. I know that there was some comments that ended up being deleted soon afterwards about how they not liking this at all and stuff like that, and putting it nicely. And if you ever saw Serenius Rex's picture she put up, she probably didn't like it terribly much.
Well, and I've had people too, when I talk about this, who will bite my head off because they say, I'll say, well, this, to a corporation, when you go on to a social media site like Twitter or whatever, and you go, hey, I just got fired, and you don't name the sure, you're not going to name the company, you're not going to say anything, but people generally know, because you were on Twitter before this, where you were working, and you go, hey, I just got fired, or hey, people just came into the office and they created a slutter. That's going to leave a bad taste in any company's mouth, and to that company, it might be seen as burning a bridge.
Yeah, no, it definitely.
And it will more often than not, it will get people like that blacklisted from being hired by that company again. Yeah. And I really, really want to get that off my chest for people who bit my head off over it.
Why would someone be? That's I don't know. hopefully it wasn't too vicious because of a biting. Because I totally agree with you. I mean, this is the real world and it's business. And that's how things work.
I understand. I assume the worst of a company so that they can surprise me when they do their best.
Well, Matt Miller didn't really exactly say F you to Cryptic. said, well, I've just been made redundant, and it looks like I'm going to be looking for a new job now,
Well, yeah,
and
it's
stuff like
yeah,
that.
but
And
that's
Smirk didn't really say anything at all about that. The only thing he really said was he's going off with his boyfriend next month to take a trip over to Europe. So he's using his redundancy
well.
package
See,
pretty well.
but that's the thing. That's the thing. The only major thing came from the former PR rep, and the PR rep. I don't know. Maybe shouldn't have been a PR rep for what was posted on Twitter by coming and saying they came into the office and it was just a slaughter of people getting, like people getting fired. That doesn't seem like something a PR rep should do, but at the same time, if that's how I started my Monday as a PR rep, that's exactly how I would have felt and exactly what I would have posted. Because it would have turned around to be bad PR and it would have gotten people talking. And it would have had people poking around wondering what the hell just happened. And what have we been doing? Poking around wondering what the hell just happened.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I don't know. It doesn't look good. I mean, I'm sure there's business reasons, and the stock thing that Woody mentioned is good. But when you have people like Sunset and these kind of people sort of mouthing off like that, I don't know. It just makes me wonder like where the game is heading. I mean, the game is pretty old, and I knew sort of that there was people out there with some hatred for it, but boy, reading some of the comments on one of these sites and threads, there's a lot of people with a lot of angst of where this sort of game has gone, and them believing that there's a really little bit of content and like 3 different economies to farm or currencies, and just everything is as a shopping thing for the game. So I don't know. I wonder if this thing that PWE is working on, if it does become a big thing, if they will shift away from some of these older games, and it's interesting.
At this point, I don't know. It seems like they're, to me, the word through the grapevine is the reason they handed us T5U was to hold us over until they could resell us all of our Tier 5 ships as Tier 6 variants. That's not nothing that's been confirmed. That's just stuff that's coming through the grapevine and the rumor mill and whatever you have it.
Yeah, but it makes sense. But if their main motivation is sort of moving forward with new items to purchase and not developing new content, even more blatantly, let's say, then I think that's not a great direction to head into.
Well, I suppose, it's a bit like what I said in the comment from Sunseal's little posting she did on Facebook. Someone said, one person put it as, well, if the other leads like Captain Gecko, Salami, Zeranis Rex will leave or gone and stuff like that, it's pretty much be the end of the game. I said, well, not really. You're going to have people coming, you're going to have people going. It might be a bit of a change in some ways to the legacy that these particular devs have, but game will still be continuing on. But the only thing we'll probably be saying the game will be over is when they make an official announcement and they're saying they're going to be shutting the game down on a certain date.
Yeah.
So it will still, according to what they tell us with these confidential information, that the game is doing well, it's doing successful, and stuff like that. And so we have to take their word for it, regardless of what our opinions are. So the game will be still be sticking around until that official announcement comes along.
We know from things that have been put online through, even if it's like the frequently created threads on the forums, we've had devs saying it, that not only have they always the game is doing well, as just mentioned, but they've also said, because of course we've had people saying, oh, they're losing the license, but it's just like, no, they've still got the license for ages yet, and that's not taken away or anything else. So yeah, I don't think it's anything to do with the game itself. I think it's to do more with Perfect World and and just restructuring and stuff like that.
I don't even think it's restructuring. I really honestly believe, and this is just me believing the worst about a company. This is the board of directors trying to squeeze as much money out of the company right now as possible, so that the person who's offering to buy it back and reprivatize it actually has to make a better bid to them first.
Yeah, that's totally logical, and I totally believe that. And I think that it's part of that, but I'm just very interested, even though it might not be totally unrelated to the health of the game. Just reading all those comments, I remember one saying that the game often has a spike during a movie, and there will be a movie, obviously, for the 50th release. But if there's potentially a really long gap between the next one, that might be sort of the beginning of the end, where they and rethinking the license, even though you say Midnight, they have it for a while. I just thought it was really interesting to read a lot of perspectives from people that maybe not are drinking the Kool-Aid all the time and playing the game all the time. But yeah, I think primarily this is a business decision. There might be an undercurrent of where the game's heading, even though we're hearing all good things publicly. I don't believe any of that. I'm sure a lot of that has been sugarcoated.
Well, remember, in all good things, they were literally on the brink of the destruction of the entire universe.
It's true. It's very true.
That's the thing is looking through the posts, people are always very fast to post doom and gloom things. How you just got to look at the forums. People who like the game and they get fed up of looking at the forums because everyone's just so like.
Oh yeah. I know.
Well,
it's just interesting.
For me personally, it's like, yes, the forums are there. Yes, there's going to be good, the bad, and downright ugly, but I don't go looking for the bad and the downright ugly.
I do.
This wasn't even, these posts weren't even in the forums, right? This was just some of the social media that was surrounding the announcement. I totally agree about the forums, though. Yeah, I don't bother.
Yeah, well, I even stopped for a while, but now I moderate them, so yeah.
You got no choice.
Yeah, I go looking for those posts now. But yeah, just reading through some of them, it's just like, oh, they're so faster. Oh, this will suck. And it's just like, they haven't even released the content. They've released a little bit of a clue about what's to come. They're always saying, this is shit.
Released the dev block.
It's just like, really? At least give the damn thing a try, people. It's just
and see, that's always been my biggest beef with Cryptic in the first place, is because, okay, sure, you want to make this content. Okay, cool. Be open with the fans about what the hell you're doing, because they're literally fans of all of this lore and all of this stuff. Do you not think that the majority of them would help you make that content?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's all PR. They need to build things up and to try and get people to pick them up and to talk about it. They release things in small chunks.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, who wouldn't go into a game like this and buy something that they helped make?
Yeah. The thing is a lot of game companies, from what I've seen, release basically nothing until it's time to actually release it, in which they talk to a few magazines and things like that, and that's all the information people get. Whereas at least with Cryptic, they at least keep people informed for the most part about what's going on.
Yeah, well, it is a very rare thing to actually have Dev come onto a podcast or podcasts basically to talk about things. It's a good thing especially with Hollow Sweet Media. It's sort of like flown on with the other talk shows and podcasts that we do on Hollow Sweet Media with other games, because it has done a bit of a flow-on effect and has made other devs from other games that not part of the PWE or Cryptic to come on and talk about things. Of course, they got learn as they go along how to not disclose everything, like Cryptic has done. But it is a good thing that we are able to have devs on the show and talk to them about these things. But it's one thing I've always known, but with Star Trek Online, is it's a bit like hills and valleys. It's they get on the hills when they get new content and numbers are good and stuff like that. And once the content, a couple, probably a week or two later, the game